Good morning, folks. Beautiful, crisp morning in the Kootenays. So the video you're about to watch is a trip that I just did recently. It was supposed to be from Invermere to the Koocanusa Lake, the Lake Koocanusa. It got cut short, but we'll get into that in the video. And it was going from the Columbia River system to the Kootenay River system. It was supposed to be hunting, fishing, get my head straight trip kind of thing. Things didn't go as planned. It was a lot of fun nonetheless. The video itself is going to be a bit of a collage. There are some video shots in it, but some of it will be collage. There'll be some screenshots from my Facebook page as well, because I was using Facebook sort of as a diary or a journal or whatever. So, and then I've got a few clips that I'll throw in that won't necessarily be in the right chronographic order, but just as filler. So this video is absolutely going to be a bit of a mishmash, and it's going to be a bit longer, and it's not going to be super exciting, but I'll do what I can. There are definitely some interesting points in it. It was a great trip, right? Like 170 kilometers total. It's 120 kilometers as the bird flies, but or as the crow flies. But because of the way the river winds back and forth, it was 170. Getting out there, I was a bit rushed. I hadn't really been able to plan an exit and get my boat up there and all that stuff. And then something happened with a job that I had, and I was able to get a ride with the person that had hired me. So, just like a few hour job. They were stuck in Cranbrook and they were going back up north. So, anyways, I gave them a discount and got my ride up. In the rush of it, I forgot a few things, which made the trip a little bit more difficult. And then, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Well, yeah, right. And some of the mistakes on my part, insofar as planning time-wise and whatnot, I didn't realize just how long it would take. So it was a total of 15 or 16 days. I can't remember. I think I was actually 16, but I like 16 at like 10 in the morning kind of thing, like 9 in the morning on the last day kind of thing. But anyways, things went really well. I didn't have any problems until the very, very end. Unfortunately, I didn't catch a video of it, but I do have a picture. Anyways, it was a great trip. That was the only like river trouble I had. There's some great stories that are probably posted on the Facebook stuff. I've been banned off Facebook since the middle of the trip. Facebook likes to ban me around my birthday, which was, in October, early October there. So they banned me about 2 weeks before my birthday and for 2 weeks after, which has been kind of standard for the last couple of years. I did a video about that, but I erased it because it was pretty ugly. Anyways, enjoy the video, and I'll talk to you after. Alright, so in this first picture, we've been dropped off and my ride has taken off down the road going his way. Anyway, so what we're looking at is basically all my stuff kind of in enough of a pile that I can do inventory, or I have done inventory at this point. I'm not sure. But I don't think so. I think basically this is pre-inventory, and I'm just kind of waiting for the sun to go down, the shade to come out a bit to get to work. You got to understand, at this point I've been up for about 24 hours. And in that 24 hours I put a RV engine back together, and while I did have my boat trip stuff together, it wasn't completely together because I wasn't entirely sure if I was able to do it, and I started pulling things apart for other things. And anyways, if you have a lot of gear and you do trips, you'll understand what I mean. You have it packed and then it's not packed. So I had to rush my inventory while very groggy, and so on and so forth. So here I'm doing inventory. So it turns out that I forgot my binoculars. And a couple other minor things, but it was really binoculars that I was most upset about. Anyway, I did not replace those because those are actually more than I was hoping to spend for decent ones. Now, this one, you might not be able to tell much of a difference, but this one is a little later in the day. The sun is just about going down here, I think, and we're about to take off to portage this down to the lake. As you can see, Kuma knows something's up, and she knows that things are packed. And anyway, she knows the deal. She knows the dealio. There's a bit of pile of garbage around my stuff that gets cleaned up and put in the trash, obviously. And then we head on down the road. We go, I think it was about 1 kilometer. I don't have it on the map here. I did have a trace somewhere, but anyways, we go down kind of a bike path, and some parts on a road, and it gets sketchy because on the bridge part you can't actually get onto the pedestrian part because the boat's too wide, and they've got a pole blocking it to avoid cars driving on it, I imagine. And this is basically the width of a car, a small car, like a smart car. It's 4 feet wide, but then you get an extra 6 inches on either side with the stuff sticking out, right? So and so we are off and away. All right, so here we are floating, boats in the water. As you can see, I am precariously standing in the water with an extension cord coming off my boat so I can take this picture. Not something you'll see me doing again, I don't think. Anyway, this was a float test. And if you know how this boat's set up, you'll notice that my cargo cans are on the back of the boat when they should be on the front. I had thought that my weight would even things out. It didn't actually work out that way. So I go out for a float test. That float test doesn't go particularly well. And as you can see from this picture, we have more stuff on the boat than I've ever actually had on the boat before. And there's people out in the water making big waves. As you can see in the background there's a wakeboard, I think. But anyway, something going on. But there's lots of people out having fun and playing, and I'm just basically trying to get an idea of how I'm going to be balancing this properly, and how I'm going to pack it all together and everything, right? So as you can see from this picture, the angle is pretty bad. It's pretty severe, and that angle that you're seeing is maybe a little bit because of the waves, but that's essentially how the boat was sitting. So if a wave came from behind, it was a pretty wet moment. So on the first night, I actually stayed back a little bit, and where I was, you can kind of see in this picture, is a marina behind me on the other side of the bridge. So I stayed back, and there's some old piers, or well, bridge works or something. Anyway, there's some old big logs upright in the water that were some sort of a support for something. And I basically tied off between a couple of those because this is a river and it's a party town. So I don't want to be anywhere along the shore necessarily. At the same time, anchoring in the middle of a river might not be the best thing, and I'm still not entirely used to the boat. At this point, I've got it balanced out properly, so I'm not at risk of it well, it won't sink or flip over, but it like filling with water or anything in the middle of the night. And unfortunately, I can't find a picture of where I was at with the poles just yet, but maybe if I do find it, I'll add it in. Anyway, so I was staying there, and sure enough, a bunch of kids show up, but they're up on top of the bridge, and I hear them laughing and this and that, and at this point I'm watching, and one of them runs down, and I think he's recording. It looks like he's got a phone in his hand. Oh, and I haven't mentioned there's an RCMP boat directly under the bridge. So these kids with their drinking bottles, and well, you can see where this is going, right? So after pelting the police boat for a while, they took off, and I was very glad of where I had decided to anchor in the middle of the river. So I went to sleep, woke up, and I went down shore a bit. Down shore, a whole bunch more interesting stuff happened. Okay, so before I went down shore, I woke up rather early, and I had wanted to get a nice, like hot coffee that was made before I left it. So, oh, and I think I needed water for some reason. I can't remember why, but oh no, I didn't need water. I needed a large water bottle. One of the things I didn't have, but why bother buying something fancy that might get trashed on a big trip when you can just replace them at gas stations along the way, kind of thing, right? So I bought a big 4-liter bottle, and I wound up lasting the entire trip, and it hung off the boat super well. But anyway, so I walk into this place all groggy and stiff from my first night out on the boat in the river and this and that, and kind of on my toes from the guys throwing rocks at the cop boat. And I see a guy behind the counter, and he looks about as rough as I do, but he looks familiar, and I can't quite place it. I guess some stuff we kind of morning BS a little bit. He told me not to drink the water or something. It was a good thing I was buying water. Don't drink the water. I'm trying to jog my memory here, but anyway, we came to the conclusion that we knew each other, and he had actually woken me up in the middle of the night behind a gas station one time, looking for help. He had a flat tire, and he was trying to get to see his girlfriend, if I remember that story correctly. But anyways, I'm not going to say what he had done in case he sees this video. He might not want me sharing that. I do share it, though. I'm just not going to share this publicly. It was pretty funny, but he had tried to fix it himself. It was not a good thing. I helped him out as best as I could, and reportedly got him where he had to go or whatever. Anyway, I kind of forgot about it. I saw him a couple times later, but it turned out to be this guy. So we talked a bit, and he was going to meet me down at the other end of the beach, which is considered a dog run. So I'll get into that to the next part of the story. I take off, and I go and do some more load testing on the boat and stress testing. People ask about or have concerns about how stable these are in bigger water, like waves and wakes and swells and stuff. So as you can see, there's people wakeboarding and all kinds of stuff around here. I'm gonna get myself sideways to this one coming in. Or out of the equation. As you can see, it's really not too bad at all. And my boat right now is completely loaded down and actually not balanced very well, so I should be having troubles. And I was at first when I first got out, but not even because of any waves or anything. It's just so badly balanced. But yeah, I'm heading that way somewhere. I thought I might go north and hook around into the Arrow Lakes and do that portion of the original trip that I planned, which was basically a giant loop. But I'm just gonna keep going south and see how I fare with the portage. It's about 5-kilometer portage, 300-pound boat. It'll be fun. Last night took me was an hour per kilometer. I was going 1 hour per kilometer, and mostly coming down that hill over there, and from there down. So it was not easy. It's a lot easier with a bike to support the front of the boat, weight and whatnot. Oh, you didn't get too far. But yeah, this is it, and it works really well. Got some new cargo boxes on, and they sit a little bit lower than I'd like, so I'm having a bit of a hard time keeping them out of the water. It doesn't make anything wet, but it slows the boat down when I'm rowing, which I don't like. A lot of wasted energy when it's getting slapped around by that. And then this is Labor Day weekend, of course, so I'm hoping to catch a free outdoor concert around here. So I might not actually go down down the river just yet. Probably hold off for a day here and see how things go. See if there's anything fun to do. And aside from that, that's pretty much it. I'm not even really worth showing, but there's a bit of a wave. This one's hitting us from behind. I'm actually sitting backwards in the boat when I row, so it's hitting the front of the boat. But yeah, a little bit of an up and down. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this one short. Probably do one when we're away somewhere a little bit less vacation-y. There's gonna be some hunting and fishing on this trip. I don't like fishing this particular lake, or at least this part of it, because the fish are wormy and it's mostly pike minnow. I mean, there are trout in here, but trying to get one out can be pretty tough. And I'm not into wormy fish. And it's not like one or two worms, it's like tons. It's really gross. So it's because there's too many people, right? Like the whole lake is surrounded by houses. Everybody runs motor boats, everything else. So nothing in this water is too healthy, unfortunately. The nice thing about me going south is this river. This is a lake that's part of a river system, the Columbia. And at this point, the river actually flows north, which, if you know your history, kind of delayed parts of the discovery of Western Canada. For a short while, anyways. Alright, so after I figure out that all my stuff is not exactly where it should be, and I go back to the shore at the dog park area of the beach, the dog beach or whatever, and I'm kind of rearranging my stuff, waiting for my buddy to show up. And I'm trying to lean over my bag, if I remember, to reach something at the back of the boat. I can't remember exactly, but all of a sudden I hear psh and catch a face full of bear spray. And I mean, like, it was literally just straight from the can to the face, and then it bounced off my shoulder a bit. So I'm dealing with that, and I've actually gotten bear sprayed a bunch of times, so I'm kind of not that badly off, but I'm, obviously not having a great time. And I'm actually really concerned about my dog, because she's right next to me. I may have even been leaning over her a bit. I'm trying to get the stuff out of my face so I can get to the dog right away. And all of a sudden, some guy comes out of nowhere, and we're talking like 10 minutes down the road. I'm still trying to deal with everything. The dog seems completely fine and just kind of like amused at whatever's wrong with me. So I'm just dealing with stuff, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this dude shows up, like this big dude. Well, he wasn't huge, but he was a good size when you're got a face full of mace. And starts demanding, well, first of all, did you spray that, or what did you spray in the air? Was that you that sprayed something? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm okay, man, don't worry about it. It was my bear spray, but I didn't get it too badly. And he goes, well, you owe us an apology. We were sitting on the beach, and he points at a spot that, I shit you not, I almost couldn't hit with an arrow. Okay. And I look at this guy, and I'm like, for a moment, I think I'm like in the fucking Twilight Zone. This guy's going off, and he's like, his girlfriend got it or something, and he's not so much mad about him, but he's trying to show his girlfriend that he's the man, right? So it's kind of not very much of a win situation, but I also can't go and apologize to his girlfriend right at the moment, because I'm completely fucking blind, except for the, big black shadow in the sky that's screaming at me. So anyway, I kind of calm him down. He goes away. I get my shit together and I leave. At this point, I'm camping nowhere where I'll see anybody. So if you look at that sign, if you can read that sign, let's see if I can zoom in on it a little bit. This was a reoccurring scenario for me. So I'm actually legal, because when they say no docking, they mean you can't tie off to shore. But I'm not on shore. I'm not touching shore. I'm not tenting there, so I'm not crossing the tracks. I actually have a campsite up in behind this sign, but I'm not crossing over, nothing like that. I'm offshore, and I'm in my tent, and I'm anchored, so I'm all good. I don't know why, but the next morning, I don't know why I don't have a picture of this, I should say, sorry. But I know exactly why this happened. But the next morning, I woke up to a bear just kind of going along the tracks. Kuma heard it, woke me up right away. And when I went to bed, I kind of knew that there was a chance I'd wake up to seeing some bears and stuff. But this guy, they say that bright tents attract bears. Like, they'll see them better, right? Because they don't have the best eyesight. So a bright tent really does stand out to a bear. And my tent is virtually the same color as the reeds around it. So I don't think it even noticed me. And Kuma is sitting there kind of giving me the warning growl. But the second I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, there's a bear, Then she is giving the real growl. At that point, the bear notices us and he's gone. So that might be why I don't have a picture of it. But I thought I did. At least a very small bear bite in the distance. I don't know. Maybe it didn't turn out and I deleted it to save space. Alright, so I leave that spot and start making my way up the shoreline down the lake. And the wind picks up tremendously. And this had been kind of an ongoing theme over the last couple days, where the wind would be going in my favor really hard and then going against me twice as hard for the rest of the day. So I'd always get this small window where I had a really good push, but then I'd be fighting the wind on open water. And the wind with the waves from the wind wasn't bad, but you're fighting that, and all of a sudden you've got a wake that comes in from one of the borders that you can see behind me here. It becomes a problem. So I decided to take a break. And anyways, while I was sitting here taking a break, the wind got even worse, so we decided we were going to basically picnic for the day. And then this is just another view, just another angle of the same spot, so you can get an idea of what kind of trees are on the shoreline, and look, just a nice picture, right? And then I guess there's a close-up. You can see my 4-liter water bottle on there, and I just hooked that with a carabiner onto one of my extra lines. You can see on the opposite side, oh, sorry. So next to the water bottle here, you can see my anchor, and it's stuck into a handle. And that's pretty much how I do it with the anchor. It works pretty well. I don't have the real estate on the boat to have an anchor locker, and even if I did, it would have to move around because the boat weight changes, right? So anyway, so going across from right to left, then you can see my tie lines on the back of the front of the boat. And I'm tied to a tree pretty securely. And then you can see my boat light with the solar panel. And then you can see on the other handle where I've got my fishing net, which holds my life jacket into the boat. And I'm ashamed to say I did most of the trip like that. So not all the trip, and not when I was in rivers, but I did a lot of the trip like that. It was just nice. I gotta be honest with you. I was safe a lot of the time, but I did a lot of the trip without a life jacket on. Yeah, I mean, anytime that I felt there was a factor of danger, I put it on. But anytime there wasn't, then I didn't. These wakeboarders, I definitely had it on. Anything else in here? You can see on the left-hand side of the boat, well, on our left here, that the box is missing, and that's because I'm just out having my picnic. And you can see that I've taken the tent down completely, and that's because the wind, I would have to completely tie it down for it to deal with that kind of wind. It would have to be completely enclosed. And if I remember, it was wreaking havoc on the rudder at this point. Something, or it was pushing the boat up into the beach or something. Anyways, there was, for some reason, I did not want that boat moving too much. Not much else to see. You can see my my wind sock thing, kind of like almost at 90 degrees. So yeah, it's blowing pretty good. So you can see in the background of this one where I had my picnic, and then we went for a walk around this little sandbar island thing, and found a bunch of old garbage that either blew in or people left from parties or stuff. And usually I pack all this stuff out, but I mean, I didn't know when the next time I'd see a garbage can was. It turned out I could have. I saw a garbage can a little later that day, but I just left it kind of in a really good tight pile so it wouldn't get blown around too much and visible from anyone going by, and hope somebody else would take care of it. Alright, so now we're going back down the river a little bit. The wind, okay, from what I remember about this, I have to check the Facebook post. And I should be doing that before I narrate too much of this. But I had been sitting on this island, And I think maybe I just took a small nap, and then I noticed the wind stopped. So as soon as I noticed the wind stop, I said, you know what? When it starts again, I bet you it's blowing the other way. And I was right. I jumped in, and that wind carried us just about all the way to the bottom. And so before we left, Kuma went off and came back with this first ball of hers, which was pretty awesome. And you can see that look of how proud she was of finding it too. So that was great. She had a good time. She had just as much fun as I did, that's for sure. So as we approach the bottom of the lake, you can go on the west side, and there's supposed to be a channel. I don't know if that channel actually exists though, except for maybe in like early spring when there's a lot of runoff, or mid-spring when there's a lot of runoff or whatever. Everything I had read and seen and kind of suggested to go to the left. So here I am on the left side at the bottom of Windermere Lake, and you can see in the background there, there's actually a boat. This is sort of a boat launch in a marina, and there's some really nice little boats down in there. Of course, Kuma was happy because she could get out, stretch her legs, and get some water and smell around, read some local P-mail, and yeah. So I am floating upstream the Columbia, but south. Columbia flows north for a while. With the wind that's going on right now, it really feels like I'm flowing downstream. Puppy dog, you in there? Kuma. Hello. Power box thing. I don't know if I did a video on that. I can't remember. I think I did. I don't know if I've uploaded it. And right now I'm mostly being pushed by the wind. I was kind of stuck in Invermere. I went there for the long weekend, hoping to catch an outdoor concert. And there wasn't. It was a waste of time. And then the wind picked up like crazy going the other way, and it was just, I didn't feel like battling it. So I stayed a little bit. Anyways, made great headway today. The wind kind of switched all of a sudden today, and I jumped in the boat just on a whim. Actually, the wind died. I jumped in the boat on a whim, then it switched, and I was right. So now I'm just trying to find my way through some channels. The Columbia, got the beautiful sunset on one side, and moon, well, it's beyond moonrise, but anyways, it's up there. It's beautiful. All right, so I think I'm going to this channel here, but it could be this one, or it could just be an island, and I'm in a dead end. It's really hard to tell, and the map is completely useless. So, kind of just going and stand up once in a while. I can stand up in the boat, but from my rowing position, I can't see very much at all. So yeah, there's been some issues. I've been drenched over and over trying to leave the Invermere area. The wakeboarders were just not very nice. At first, it might be my own fault even, because at first I was like, the first day, I basically put everything on the boat, went out in the middle of the lake where they were playing, and then wanted to see what problems I'd have, and there was many. So I went back, adjusted, rearranged. My boxes are on the front of the boat right now because the battery box weighs too much and it throws everything off. So anyways, I went back out the second day after hanging out on the beach or whatever, and I still had a few issues. It wasn't the wakeboarders so much, it was just my boat setup or whatever. And the third day I think I tried to leave. Like, this is the third day. No, I left yesterday. Yeah, I left last night. Sorry. I left in the afternoon at 3:30. I was waiting for a buddy that I know here. He was a no-show, so I told him in advance that I'm out of here at 3:30 if he didn't see you. So, anyways, I took off at 3:30, and it took me quite a long time to get out. The wakeboarders were just brutal at that point. I don't think they realized that I was actually trying to get out of there. Maybe they thought I was playing or something. I was getting a little bit choked last night, but I was kind of like, whatever, like maybe my own fault. But then today I'm not halfway across the lake, but what, 8 kilometers or 7 kilometers down the lake or something. And I go to head out, and the minute I head out, and I've literally got everything dry and nice, the minute I head out, some guy comes and bombs me twice, and I just lost my shit. Oh, I just rode myself into a patty. Oops. I don't want to put the phone down before I finish the video again. So I got a little upset, and that from that point forward, I was pretty rude to every wakeboarder that got too close to me. You know, the thing is like, you know, if it's all good and fun if somebody wants to, but if they're not into it, you know what I mean? Like, what if this isn't a stable boat I'm on? What if you, like, this one guy, absolutely walloped me. I'm so lucky I wasn't sideways. I didn't see the wave coming, and that's the first time a wakeboard from, a wave coming from the front has come over me like that. And it literally, I guess, I just felt the boat go like, whoop, and then all of a sudden, just water everywhere. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't see or hear it coming, and it just happened. So after that, I was pretty upset. Oh, the wind's kind of carrying me. Supposedly this river flows north, but the thing is I know that there's some point or another where it flows south, and I have a really hard time following it. I do know some of the history, like with the early explorers having a bit of a hard time. Anyways, that's a whole different story. But because they thought that all rivers flow south, right? But I know that it switches, and it might switch twice. I'm not sure. It might switch just right at the beginning near Columbia Lake, and but I don't think so. I think that's the headwater. So that's where I'm headed. I got to stop in Fairmont. Anyways, I got to stop in Fairmont. And then now I got to get moving. And then after that, I'll be going, I guess, down to Canal Flats. I'm making sort of a log on Facebook as I go, and noting my problems. I'll probably do a video on issues that I came across. One is obviously staying dry. It's not too bad, but my boat is only 12 inches off the water, the gunnels or whatever. So even if the wind picks up enough, it can start getting a little splashy in here, and that's not so great if you're trying to camp long term. It's September 3rd or 4th, so gotta think about that a little bit, and then like I said, my balance was off, and my load wasn't correct. So the first day or a couple days or whatever, things were really not great. Oh yeah, and I didn't bring a pillow, and then I forgot a bunch of stuff, like my binoculars, which obviously would help me a lot right now. I actually almost bought another pair, but I really don't have the funds to do that, unless they were on sale, which they were not. So, just the way things came together, the job that I got basically was my ride out here. So I left my truck down where I'm staying, and I popped the boat in his truck and rode with him up, and here I am. But because he had been waiting for a couple days because parts were wrong and stuff, he was already kind of impatient. For as patient as he was being, he was in his own right to be getting a little wanting to get out of there, right? And he's a 70-year-old man, first of all, so I don't blame him in the least. And thank you very, very much for doing that for me. I'll never forget this. Told you I'd hook you up with the videos and whatever journal I log on it, and I absolutely will. He doesn't watch YouTube much though, so you won't see this probably. What else? What else? Forgot my cargo straps, so but because the boxes are in front, doesn't matter. I had to use bungees anyway. Cargo strap goes right across, and it just keeps them from dragging in the water. So also had that little bit of an issue, but that's resolved by tightening the shit out of my straps. I brought my ratchet straps instead of the cam locks, which are lighter and garbage. The ratchet straps are just mostly I brought them because I'm gonna have to portage at Canal Flats, and my dolly, my rack is my dolly, as some of you may or may not know. But keeping the boat on that can be challenging, even with ratchet straps. Keeping it straight on it anyway, so the wheels aren't rubbing it. What else? What else? Oh yeah, and my neck. Oh my god, I need mirrors. I have it in my notes and I just completely spaced out, never got mirrors. So I might stop along the way where there's a scrapyard and pop up and see if I can snag a mirror off something. What else? Oh yeah, and my neck. I'm using a life jacket as a pillow, which is really not working as well as I hoped. So my neck is not loving me, and as a result, obviously rowing is a little painful. But it's not so bad. And yeah, like I've got issues with shoulders and stuff, and really not having too much of a problem with that at all. Collarbone a little bit. I've smashed those a little bit. I don't think I've ever actually broke one. But I'm not sure what that is. A crane or a... I'm not really sure what it is. It's big. It could be a heron, but I don't think so. There's another really big one that comes around here too somewhere. Anyway, I gotta pay attention to where I'm going, so I'm gonna let this go now. Thanks for watching. I'm hoping to make more videos because I got a battery box. At the very least, a bunch of pictures I can throw together on a thing, but probably some videos. And I mean, why not? Of course, if I drop my phone in the lake, I'm completely screwed. Yeah, like I know maps or nothing. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I gave away my good maps of BC because I thought I'd never come back here. And then my back road map book is not that great. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. So all my maps are like Google Maps, iHunter maps and stuff. So got to be real careful on that, and hence why I have to have a battery and stuff. And there's a solar panel on the back of the boat. Actually, let's get a view of the back of the boat here. Got my light on, solar panel, cargo's all covered up. Out there. Oh, and I'm getting blown. I gotta go. So now, this boat's pretty good insofar as getting through stuff. It is meant to go through marshy kind of areas. It's a bass raider, right? So, and bass tend to be in kind of reedy areas and stuff. So anyways, but propelling it through this stuff is a whole different story. You can see how tall the weeds are just right in front of me in the water there. And when you look at that stretch of seagrass or whatever it is, you would think that you could boat through that, but it actually gets pretty difficult. And the reason being is that you have to row a very specific way or your oars basically get entangled. And then you're not going anywhere. So this picture also represents the first real sign of the maze that I was going to have to contend with. At this point, I'm literally just hoping that every time I go down a stretch that I'm not going the wrong place. And for the most part, it worked out really well. Now, believe it or not, from this picture, it took me until about 1 o'clock in the morning. Maybe later than that. I'll have to check the Facebook posts. I used Facebook as a notepad sort of thing. And also that way people knew I was doing okay and safe. Anyways, so... but yeah, it took me until about 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning to get through all this stuff to about where I thought I was supposed to cross over. So it wasn't super fast, that's for sure.